The indices are a means to an end. I mean, the end is to get people to manage risk, and rather than relying on banks. There's nothing wrong with banks, but for people to share risks with successful companies, why not? We're trying to stimulate the capital markets. The European Union is trying to do it. Compared to the States, we're really behind as Europeans. The attitude towards risk and the fact that you have this entrepreneurship, the skills, the initiative to go for it. And if you fail, you don't say, oh, it's the end of the world, and you try again. The more indicators you have, the better it is for the investor to know where they stand. So we have seen a revival of our stock exchange. We're going abroad to places as far as China and Japan and Singapore and places in Africa. Well, with SMEs, the commercial banks wouldn't mind, but the point is they consider it always as a high risk. The smaller you are, the more vulnerable you are. But believe it or not, the biggest investors, in the sense of being bullish about investment, are the SMEs. So we've got this strange situation where you have people who want to invest but are held back because they believe that it's a bit too risky for their own institutional profile. And here, that's where the National Development Bank comes, which we've just set up. This scheme, or the fact that you give a citizenship not by family connections, but as a gift, has existed for many years. I remember the US had it, Canada had it, the UK had it. In other words, they welcomed investment. Smaller countries, Malta, Cyprus, Portugal, especially southern EU countries, have pushed this further, I would say. Once they started doing that, the European Parliament got very critical of them. And they started talking about concerns about taxation, about money laundering, criminality, and so on. But every activity you have to address the concerns. So if let's one by one, whoever applies, if a due diligence is being done. Now, in the whole EU, there are 1 million citizenships given each year by the 28 countries. Do we do a due diligence of who is marrying who, for what reason, whether it's for convenience or not? Do we examine whether some of them are fake documentation? No. For 1 million, we don't. Now, for the small number, like 100 or 150 for Malta or Cyprus or whatever, there is due diligence is being done. In Malta's case, we refuse 25% of the applicants. Not because they are criminals, but they haven't given proof enough of the source, of the income, and so on and so forth. And it's not satisfactory, and therefore are put by the wayside. So, there's a lot of due diligence done. But the point is, from our country, we've got somebody who believes in your country. He's going to invest, whether in industry or in corporate bonds or in government bonds. And just like the scheme which the US and UK had, you're going to thank them by providing this citizenship.